Subclassing is live on PC, and today I show you my first PvP build with mixed skill lines, which are the Nightblade Assassination skill tree combined with the Animal Companion Warden skill line, plus last but not least the Earth and Heart DK skill line. Now with this combo I guarantee you maximum burst damage combined with a ton of sustain and even a good amount of survivability. But now let's take a closer look on the skills with some new changes, adjustments and even reworks. First one is Merciless Resolve. This ability can now stack up to 10 times instead of 5, means you can basically use a double bow proc within 2 global cooldowns, completely broken. It gives Merciless an even bigger damage burst potential than before, as if it wasn't already busted. Next up, Concealed Weapon, no changes here, still a strong melee spammable with extra movement speed slotted on both bars and sets the enemy even off balance if you flank them, which allows us to use the blue CP exploiter for extra flat 10% more damage during this off balance phase, but I do not use it in this case simply because I need the extra damage mitigation. It should be worth in group play with more survivability options. Last Nightblade skill is of course our super cheap ultimate Ingame, also no changes here, still busted as usual. I prefer the extra damage plus stun, Soul Harvest as alternative for the extra healing, and shield strength reduction with Magicka file is a banger too. The passive Master Assassin got changed. It delivers now over 6% crit rate instead of almost 3k pen. Sadly a nerf in PvP, but penetration on this setup is no issue. Done with Nightblade, now a close look on Warden skills, with probably the biggest game changer for all class combos. Yes, I'm talking about Deep Fissure, a precast burst front AoE damage ability which debuffs with major and minor breach, so almost 9k penetration. Now you can imagine what happens if you combine this one with Merciless bow procs and empowered Ingame. The damage is just inhuman, holy shit, it's like a mini orgasm, I tell you guys. Zos, what have you done? Next ability, Growing Swarm. Decent damage over time effect, deals bleed damage, so it could proc the strong bleed status effect Hemorrhaging. It also debuffs with minor vuln, so basically 5% more damage for us. With stamina problems, swap to the Magicka more fetch infection. Now a rarely seen Warden skill, Deceptive Predator, the other morph of Bird of Prey, a snare removable with Major Expedition, 30% movement speed, but also with minor evasion, 10% AoE damage mitigation. As alternative, Race Against Time obviously still works, costs slightly more Magicka, but delivers more crit damage instead of AoE damage mitigation, so up to you to choose. Last Warden skill, Blue Betty, another banger, provides major brutality, 20% weapon damage, a ton of Magicka sustain with almost 200 Magicka per second, so 400 Magicka recovery and even purchase for free. Some adjustments on the passives, Bond with Nature for a small healing boost, Flourish got buffed from 12 to 20% stamina Magicka recovery, a huge one, and Advanced Species from 4 to 5% crit damage for each ability slotted, in this case 5% on our front bar. Last class skills are DK based, with Shattering Rocks in my opinion still the strongest you see in-game, unblockable, undodgeable and heats quite a lot. Next DK skill is the notorious ultimate Corrosive Armor. Oh boy, Corro on this setup is brutal as fuck. Max penetration on all direct damage attacks, so almost everything gets empowered on this build, and on top obviously the extra huge tankiness. With this skill line we have also access to minor brutality, 10% weapon damage with Mountain's Blessing, just use Shattering Rocks every 20 seconds and you're Gucci to go, even some ulti regain and stamina recovery with Helping Hands, but the bigger banger is Battle Roar. You know this one, it delivers HP, stamina and Magicka back by using an ultimate. Depending on the ultimate points spent, the value increases. They had to nerf the regain by around 26%, but still a huge game changer in terms of sustain. Other skills are Karma Hunter on front bar needed for the crit buff, Resolving Vigor is powerful healing over time and extra armor, and last but not least Healing Contingency needed as burst here with my favorite scripts, Gladiator's Tenacity as signature one and Minor Protection as affix script for overall a huge amount of damage mitigation. Even if Contingency costs more than before, I think around 500 Magicka, still sustainable, so don't worry about that. For non-scribing users, the Restoration skills Combat Prayer or Healing Ward are decent options, not even close to Contingency, but better than nothing. Now there's one important buff missing, I'm talking about Major Resolve. Almost 6k armor, a must have, so that's why I'm using the monster set Mighty Shudan. If you don't have access to it, use Bloodsport instead, should also work. Talking about the sets, the other stuff is nothing unusual, with Rallying Cry on back bar for extra tankiness and weapon damage, Oak Father's Retribution on front bar for a ton of weapon damage and some penetration, combined with the mythic item Saint and Seducer, which delivers a huge amount of strong major buffs and applies minor debuffs as filler 120 for the XHP. Armor types, 1 heavy chest, 4 light armor, simply because Oak Father and Rallying Cry are both light armor sets, 2 medium armor with 5 well fitted as traits, 1 sturdy and a reinforced chest for the extra armor. Full prismatic glyphs best in slot, full infused on the jury with 2 stamina recovery and 1 weapon damage glyph. No Magicka recovery needed, we have already a ton of Magicka sustain. Front bar weapon a lightning staff for the extra 12% direct damage, penetration is already more than enough, maces or 2H more are not needed. Back bar ice staff in defending for the extra armor with the escapist poison. Raised stamina for extra weapon damage, flame resistance, max Magicka and stamina. Any other damage raise or a tanky raise like Imperial Nord also work. Mundus the Atonak for extra Magicka recovery, Smoked Bear and just Buffwood, best in slot, Vam stage 3 for the Undeath passive up to 15% damage mitigation, attribute points 38 into Magicka, the rest into health, like this I'm at around 31 KHP, which is more than enough usually. Potion, the normal tricep potion, or against gankers, DCC immunity potion with stealth detection. Really helpful. CPs, Ruffled Strikes, Mastered Arms, Ironclad and Duelist Rebuff, Sustained by Suffering, Pain's Refuge, Celebrity and Survival Instincts, pretty basic here. Let's talk about the rotation. More in detail this time than usual. Starting off with the Prebuff Rotation. So the buffs you need to precast before engaging into combat. Start with Blue Betty for weapon damage buff, Sustain and Purge, followed by Vigor for extra armor, Contingency for the damage mitigation, and Predator for more movement speed. Make sure to always keep up these essential buffs, especially in combat. Now next I show you one possible burst combo. First of all, apply Growing Swarm and precast Deep Fissure. Pop Corrosive Armor or use Incap here into Shattering Rocks, followed by 1 to 2 bow procs into Concede Weapon Spam. Now this whole combo scenario is obviously not realistic. In most PvP fights you need to implement some survivability skills in between in order to use any damage skills, right? So just to simplify the damage combo thing, try to always line up the Deep Fissure first or second hit with any damage skill, ideally a bow proc. And if you can stun shortly before, or in best case even empower the whole combo with Corrosive Armor Incap, you will have the maximum amount of burst damage, which we all have never seen before in ESO. It's simply crazy what Zos did, to be honest, but we'll take it. Another important part is the positioning. Deep Fissure has a relatively small front AoE cone range, so check your position mainly shortly before Fissure hits, otherwise the whole thing fails. Last but not least is about the defensive rotation, so how to behave properly if you're struggling in terms of survivability. First small tip is about contingency. This skill procs with the activation of another skill, right? And with a roll dodge too. So if we use contingency twice in a row, followed by a roll dodge, we build up a powerful double burst here because it procs twice in a split of a second. This small tip saved my ass already multiple times, way more effective than just spamming it. Try it out. Next is about Shattering Rocks. This thing heats like crazy when your enemies CC break. What I often do, I simply stun multiple opponents, usually 2, maximum 3 targets, before I swap to back bar. This can save some time to go line of sight. The Mercer's bow proc here is underestimated too. If they are up, you can use them as another burst heal option, but only on nearby enemies. It has a small healing range. Next advice is about Blue Betty. It costs no resources. With every cast, you will purge yourself a negative effect, and thanks to the WARDEN passive Bond of Nature, will gain a small healing for every cast. Can be helpful with low resources to spam this ability. Last tip is about Deceptive Predator. Pretty obvious use this one. If you are snared, slowed or rooted, will purge the effect instantly, and movement speed helps a lot too. Everything else, like going line of sight, healing properly if needed, keep buffs up, regain resources with a fully charged heavy attack, not engaging brain dead, etc., is pretty obvious, so no need to talk about that stuff. That's it with the entire new subclassing PvP build. What do you think about the new PvP era? Let me know down below. If you have questions, type them in the comments or add me on Discord. But now, enjoy the gameplay footage and I see you guys in the next one. Peace.